What's going on, guys? It's Dealer back again with yet another RDX podcast. We're back again to talk about all of the latest in the industry. Thank you so much for joining us. We know Forza's out, but you're still here, so that means something. As well as Odyssey for Gold Edition owners. And we're going to talk about our impressions and so much more. We got some good topics today. I want to start with some intros, beginning with the Ash and Luca. Thanks for joining us.
Hey man, what's up? What's up? What's up, chat? What's up, panel? Thank you so much for having me. It's been a bit since I've been on, but I'm always happy to come hang out with my RDX brothers, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, D-Batch, the herpes flared up and he couldn't make it, so we definitely are glad to have you. We've also got So Shady, man. Hey, welcome back to the show.
That's just Shady this week, sent over from the Slash Empire with a mandate to be a little bit more open-minded for the people, if you will. On that note, a huge shout out to everyone that left comments on last week's show. We got a really passionate group of people out there that listen, and it makes me feel good knowing that I can bring it out of them, baby. It's going to be awesome this week. Let's do it.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a good discussion. I think it made the show better overall, and you know what? It's okay to disagree. We've also got the naughty dog of YouTube here, Colt Eastwood. What have you been up to, bud?
That never gets old.
Nope.
I don't know. I was gonna play some Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but you're like, hey, it's time for RDX, so here I am. But it's awesome time, really awesome time.
And we've also got Zalker, who is coming on to kind of help fill a spot here. Zalker, what's going on, buddy?
Hey everybody, how's it going? Good to be on here. You know, everybody might not know who I am, but trust me, at the end of the podcast, you'll remember me.
Yep, he's a sex offender. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on, and we're gonna talk about, like I said, several different things. We'll let kind of the audience stream in here. We don't want to get a bunch of questions. Hey, what'd you talk about? You talk about it? Yeah, we talked about it all probably. So we're gonna go ahead and give shout outs to the RDX sponsors. Thank you guys so much for what you do, including Channing, Pennington, John Yoon, Mel S, Chief Exec. We got Guillermo Cavillo. We got Lethal Papa. We've got, oh man, Robert Prather. That one always gets me. I have to get used to that one. And Michael Bovan. Yeah, so you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for what you do. We've also got some really good information regarding the Patreon giveaway, or what's now referred to as RDX benefits for legal reasons. And we're giving away a ton of games. I think I got 12 this month, and I'm adding a copy of Assassin's Creed Odyssey to that. So if you want to be in that giveaway, help support the channel, a few bucks a month, check out the link down below to the show, and we'll see what we can do. I've also got a Patreon stream going on after the show. Right after the show, I will be doing a Patreon stream. So you'll hit me up on Xbox Live at II space dealer space II, and that's how we'll invite everybody to the party, and whatever game we're going to choose and all that kind of stuff, we'll stream for like an hour and have some fun. So 1 or 10 of you guys show up. I know it's kind of a weird time zone thing. So anyway, I want to get into some of this awesomeness known as Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm going to take an L, and self-admitted L here. I wasn't very excited for the game. I thought it kind of looked like a reskin or a giant DLC. But after 5 to 7 hours in the game, I gotta say, it's fucking awesome. I just gotta keep it 100 on this. I mean, the armor sets, all of the stuff you can upgrade, the combat's great. The side missions on the first little island alone are better missions or side missions than any side mission I ever found in Assassin's Creed Origins, which was last year's Assassin's Creed, which I also enjoyed. I have over 1,200 gamer score out of 1,500 on that one too. So I gotta say, guys, Odyssey is raw as fuck, and I am enjoying it. Tons of customization, and not including the ship, which you can do all the same stuff to. Anybody else?
Are you saying that people should actually try the game, not base this game off of past experiences? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that the game deserves the hype it's getting. But honestly, I think it should get more hype right now. And I think a lot of people thought the same thing I did for obvious reasons. But once you start playing this, you understand that there is dialogue here. It does change things. The side missions matter more than ever. It's a good time. I gotta say, did you get a chance to play this, Luca?
Not yet, man. I'm gonna boot it up after the show. Just got home, so yeah. But I'm excited for it. Yeah. Like, I was in a party with Dealer the other day, and this guy, he's like, Luca, got the gold edition. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll get the gold edition too. Like, it was bad. It was bad.
Yep.
A brief stint of peer pressure without the pressure. I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this.
Yes.
So I'm excited, man. It looks good.
I've got to say too, for tech heads out there, Ubisoft HDR with this game is the best it's ever been. It's come out of that zone of like Far Cry 5, you know, and some of the other titles, and it's now actually pretty good. So it's just a looker. It's got a ton of features, a ton of missions, a ton of all kinds of stuff, and I'm really enjoying what I'm liking and seeing here so far. Colt has a little bit of time with it, man. What do you think about it so far? I know you have a very limited amount of time with it, though.
I had 30 minutes this morning and then 2 minutes, and then you told me to shut it off. No, it's like, oh my gosh, I've only just like kind of got started with the game, and then I took a look at the skill tree, and like the very bottom row is the first thing you unlock. I'm like, this is really, really cool. Like Spartan kick, slow time for arrows, like all kinds of really cool stuff that you get to your pick in your very first shot. And I can see myself sitting there for 20 minutes trying to decide where to put the first skill point. So that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
And I loved Origin. 70 hours into it on the main game. I think it was like close to 70. An additional 10 on the DLC, and that I did one of the DLCs. What a great game. They turned it around. I
gotta say, man, like I mean it too. And I know Shady has a little bit of time. I'll come to you in a second, but while we let the room fill up some more, but the upgrades in that game, like each perk has additional upgrades. So if you get the Spartan kick, which is much more fun to use than you can even imagine. Like I thought it kind of looked stupid before because motherfucker's kicking him like he's got a bionic leg, right? But it's really fun to use. Like kick the shit out of, kick a wolf's face in, right? Like there's a lot of animals in the game that attack you and come at you. They keep you engaged. But there's upgrades to each perk, and then you can, you know, find different gear sets like Shadow War. But those gear sets are also upgradable. You can then engrave certain powers onto those things as well, and bring your favorite gear up with you by upgrading it instead of being like, yeah, damn it, I like this armor, but it sucks. You know, you can do it's a mix. So keep in mind, Origins didn't even have armor. You had like a few different outfits you could wear. They didn't even add any kind of armor benefits to you. You could upgrade your health in other ways, but this is legitimately, you have HP, then you have separate armor that you can also upgrade on top of that. I gotta say, like I said, it's a good experience. Shady, what do you got so far on this?
I stayed up way too damn late playing this thing last night. I also spent about 3 hours just staring at the opening menu in a party with you guys last night, listening to that music. But once I got into it, man, it was really good. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed in a very long time, to be honest. I didn't even touch Origins. It just sat in my game library and taunted me every day for a year. And I decided this is the one, man. I'm diving in. The other ones, old ones be damned, so to speak. I'm going in big time. So it felt very not Assassin's Creed to me because it's been such a long time that I constantly had to remind myself that it was Assassin's Creed, and I can climb like all the cliffs and I don't have to be stuck to the roads, things like that. I would go into the caves and there was just loot everywhere, up on the walls and little hidden areas off to the sides, not just on the ground. When you play a lot of Destiny and stuff, the worlds are flat and you just kind of hop up on levels. You're not climbing nothing. So that took a little bit of me to get in the mode again. And then the fighting is just... oh, wow. Is it ever different than the old Assassin's Creed games? I'm very used to being able to bounce around from enemy to enemy. You got that quick counter, kind of like Batman and Creed always did. That's gone now, sort of. So I'm not really on the combat yet, but I'm thinking with enough time, I'm going to really, get a good feel for that. But, man, those graphics are fantastic. I really like the setting. I was Sparta kicking dudes. I ran up on this guy fishing on the dock, just booted him right in the back. He goes 30 feet on the drink. Loved it.
So some random guy fishing, you came up and kicked his spine through his chest.
Yeah, I just ran right up to him and just booted him right in the spine. It was so good. I loved it.
So you're going to get, that's another mechanic, is you're going to have more mercenaries after you. The more killing you do, you're going to have mercenaries coming after you and stuff. And you're right, there's resources you can pick up around the world and stuff too.
Yeah, that's right. At the very beginning of the game, like, it's not a spoiler really. You get an encounter and you can either kill these two guys or you can let them live. I killed them. I mean, obviously, it's obvious. Yeah. So I killed him, and I've instantly got this higher level mercenary stalking the map after me. So for a while I was avoiding him, and then I started to try and fight this guy, and he is a monster. I happened to get him up on a cliff once and booted him off and took off half his health. So I jumped down thinking I was all badass, and he just one-shotted me when he got up. But I'm really enjoying the game a lot. It's fantastic. Anyone out there that has the ability, I recommend it. Give it a try. It's awesome.
So I had to add it to the collection this month for giveaway because I honestly believe this is one of the best games of the year. And according to Metacritic, what's it at? 87, 88 on Xbox One. It's legit. Shout out to D Black, Raven, Lethal Papa, and Vader, all these guys in the chat. Thank you so much. Speaking of Lethal Papa, I've given him some codes to give away throughout the show. So we've got 3 different codes, and I'll call on him randomly to drop a code in the chat. And I picked these up for those of you who just watched the show. We appreciate it. Try to give some codes to some of you guys at random here in the chat. So we've got, I bought the Return to Arkham Remaster Collection, which is, it's just a great game. I try to give a lot of those away because everyone I give it to that actually plays it, they're like, wow, I did not know about these games. So that's the first code we'll be dropping here, and whatever. I'll be sure and let you guys know. So we got plenty more into that as well. So AC Odyssey, Zauker's waiting on this bitch. You don't have too much to say on it because you just haven't played it yet, right?
Well, I have actually a few questions for you guys. One of the big things that I thought of Origins that was really good is that it felt less historically accurate, and it felt more like they played into the mythology of it. And I'm wondering if Greece, if they did the same thing, did they put the mythological like beings in it or anything like that to make the world feel less accurate so you can just have a good time in it and enjoy Greece as the way we painted it in our minds as like kids or watching movies and stuff like that?
Well, I
Perhaps
know
a little bit.
I know like Medusa's in the game and stuff. That's not a spoiler. They've unveiled that and stuff. And I actually like that approach. You're battling like kind of mythological creatures like that. I actually prefer something like that.
Like the whole story arc of Creed is like this ancient civilization with their pieces of Eden that have like almost a magical power of influence over humanity. So it is already kind of fantastical, if you will. And I think this game really did embody it, with the gigantic god statues carved into the side of statues and stuff. I mean, speaking of which, there is nothing like hanging from the dangling ball bag of a god. Nothing.
Jeez. Well, that's the first thing.
Some of those statues are, they got some dangly bits on them. You can climb on them, all that stuff. So
that's good stuff. That's good stuff. And do you think the HDR comes a little more because of the setting of Greece, how it has far more colors than what Origins had, where it was just mainly sand and desert? And
no, I think it's just the quality. I think it's the implementation. I can tell in the fire alone at night. It's good stuff, man. But
half the map on Origins was green, like palm trees, and like there was pretty good diversity of colors. And Origins for me is one of the best looking games this generation. It's up there with I know it's just an Assassin's Creed game, but it's highly detailed. There's stuff everywhere. It's just a beautiful game.
Well, we gotta move forward. We're spending a long time on this Odyssey game, but we do gotta give a shout out to almost 400 people watching live, guys. Especially given the fact that you could play our next topic right now. I wanted to give our quick impressions. We'll make this one shorter. Of Forza Horizon 4. I gotta say, it's Forza Horizon 3 on crack. If you enjoyed that game and you want more racing, then there you go. But right now, I'm just can't get away from Odyssey. So real quick, what do you guys think about Horizon? Zach, you just started.
Yeah, great. It's honestly amazing. I haven't played Forza Horizon 3 in a little while, so I was due for an awesome racing game. And the seasons and the changing and the pretty damn long prologue has really just engrossed me in the game. Almost happy that I didn't get Odyssey's Gold Edition, so I could get it on Friday, so I can enjoy Forza for a little while. But like I told you before, Dealer, and I've told a couple other people, Forza is a game you just keep coming back to, right, over time. It's not a game that you have to rush through. So I'm excited that I get to have fun with it and then put it down for a little bit and come back to it later. The longevity is just astounding with that game.
Yeah, and that's the approach I'm taking with Horizon 4 because, and I've talked about this before, they're going to have to kind of freshen things up with the next installment because as fun as it is to play, I'm not sitting there yearning to be like, oh man, like I am Odyssey. Like there's no Assassin's Creed like Odyssey. There's no Assassin's Creed that's done all of the things that Odyssey does all at once, which takes many of the best things from all the things like Black Flag. You got all the ship stuff and customization, but you also get all this armor stuff going on with all the new, it's different combined with the RPG and the quest telling and all that stuff. It's just, I don't know, man, that's got me right now. So I'm with you. I'll come back to Horizon afterwards. It'll be there. I got the gold edition. I'll have all the stuff there too. But Colt's the only other person here I think that's played it, right, Colt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your quick thoughts on Horizon 4?
Yeah, it's like just a certain gap more than 3, and 2 is like a certain gap, between them. But they just nail that gameplay so much. Like Zocker said, I played that game for a year straight, like at least once a week, like all the time I was playing it. And it's the same thing with this. Like it's really good to have Odyssey right now, because like when I'm in the driving mood, I'll play the crap out of Forza Horizon 4, and I feel like going around in the open world in Odyssey, I'll play that. Like it's just so much, and that's what the draw was with Horizon 3. People were playing it, and they pulled in players like the whole entire 2 years it was out. You know, the enhancement helped too. It's a great game, and I love playing those games.
Yeah,
I appreciate how they have the upgrade to the Ultimate Edition available in the store for anyone that didn't grab the Ultimate Edition right out the gate via me, because I go with Game Pass. So me and my buddy are going to be upgrading ourselves up likely tonight. It's going to be good.
I gotta say something real quick. I'm kind of seeing like a little theme going on in the chat with some people that are like comparing games to other games. Like this game isn't as good as that, or this PS4 exclusive is better than this Xbox. We're not doing that tonight on the show. Like we're just talking about the great games. I think raise your hand in the chat and on the panel if you played Spider-Man and finished it. I think a lot of us did here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean we're
almost platinum.
Yeah, I know Zocker and I both kind of had the same experience finishing the game, and like it did what no game really does. It's just really great. We're here enjoying really good games. We're in the middle of like the blast zone. It just started, right? So, you know, these people are in the chat need to just, you know, take it easy. We'll have some fun.
Be nice.
Y'all motherfuckers are lucky. You motherfuckers are lucky I'm multitasking the whole time. I don't crush you every time you talk in the chat, honestly.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff going on, so I ain't paying attention to some turds in the chat. I like God of War, so
like
did
someone
I.
just said, but Colt, what about the Metacritic scores? Yeah, what about them? It's like your only objective like way to gauge how great a game was, and sometimes we use it as one of many ways to figure out if we're going to buy a game. People need to calm down. The games are great right now. All these games that are coming out will probably be really hot. It will be in the 80s and 90s, right? You know, Red Dead, Fallout 76 will probably score really well. Forza Horizon's doing awesome. Spider-Man did awesome. Odyssey's doing awesome. Like this is a good time to be happy. So, you know, cheer up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we played them all, and now we're moving on. I mean, I don't know about how big a gamer some of you dudes in the chat are, but I've already beat God of War 30 hours, already beat Spider-Man 30 hours. I've moved on to Horizon 4 and Odyssey now, and I think you're probably playing Odyssey as well. You're probably not still playing Spider-Man again, unless you're not really a hardcore gamer. So I'll go back to Spider-Man, though, eventually to the New Game Plus. It was a great game. So I'm going to move on because we're wasting too many time on turds.
Yeah.
Minecraft still has 13 million more monthly active users than Fortnite. Now, does that kind of put that into perspective? People say Fortnite is the biggest game in the world. You know, it's a free-to-play game. Anybody can just play it if they want, right? But somehow Minecraft, I know it's been out longer, but damn, you can't beat free. I think that makes a statement, don't you, Luca? And she died.
No, I'm still here. I was just waiting for you to finish talking. What statement doesn't make exactly, dealer?
I don't know. Like, isn't it kind of impressive that they have 13 million more monthly active users than the biggest game in the world, quote unquote?
Well, I mean, like you said before, it's been out longer.
Yeah.
So I'm not really surprised that it has. I mean, Minecraft is just more well known at this point. Fortnite's only been out what, like a year and a half?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but it's free.
I get that, man, but I just think that it's not really a surprise in my perspective on it. I
am actually surprised by this because I don't remember there being a phenomenon like this Fortnite thing going on. In terms of how much merchandise this game is moving, how much money it's making, and how big it is. It's everywhere. I mean, you got places downtown where I live. You got dudes at a bar for some reason. They're all playing.
And like I knew it was big when like the new Galaxy phones were like, so you can get these V-Bucks or you can get these like headphones when you order a new Galaxy phone. I was like, huh? Like, like what? You're offering Fortnite shit for this new phone? Like, I was genuinely surprised, and I was like, all right, well, this is definitely something else. Like, I train people at my job, and I have like my new people coming in. Like, they're not that's all they play. They're like, yeah. Oh, do you play Fortnite? I'm like, no, I play real games, but that's none of my business. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. You know, so it's definitely a phenomenon. Like, I don't see the appeal, but whatever. So
I want to tell Lethal, pay attention to Lethal Pop in the chat, guys. If you're interested in that code, he's going to drop it soon, and I'll have him queue that up for when I'm ready to go ahead and have that dropped. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I was surprised by it. And because keep in mind, Minecraft's older, and I'm like, man, it is really old. Like there's still that many more people playing it every month. That's crazy. Anybody else got kind of a quick thought on this?
Well, it doesn't surprise me much. Lego is huge, man. It always has. It's one of the originals. Kids are creative. They like to build and live in their own worlds, kind of be the masters of it, if you will. Minecraft fits the bill.
Yeah, and well, last year in December they sold 144 million. I think Fortnite's at 125 million. So and that last year in Minecraft they had 74 million active users that month alone. So that was last year, and it is insane. That is one of the biggest games around. I still know people that play it and just create worlds in it. I never personally played it, but that was one of the first games to go like mobile and everything on everything, right? You can play it on your damn shoe if you wanted to.
Yep.
It's just everywhere.
On the prototype Nikes, right? Yeah, it's I don't know, man. For some reason, I guess I wasn't really paying attention to how crazy big Minecraft is. It is massive. Man. Yeah, that's nuts. Keep in mind, they didn't spend $2 billion for no reason. That's about how much they paid for Mojang. And it looks like they're making their money back already.
Yeah.
Crazy. Hey, Lethal, go ahead and drop that code, bro. This code is for the Batman Return to Arkham. We got some better codes coming up. But if you're a Batman fan or if you just want to play some of the best games ever made, and that is a fact, grab that code from Lethal Papa. First come, first serve. Yeah, so... Let's have him drop.
May the odds ever be in your favor.
Yeah. Good luck. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Witcher 3, Luca. Did you hear about this? The author of the books. He wanted more money, Luca.
I'm not actually surprised to hear this because when I played the game the first time around, I read an article about him saying that he wasn't like personally a fan of the games because he didn't play video games. And the way he came across, at least the way they structured the article, the way he came across was as someone who had a little bit of like disdain towards it, like kind of looking down on it, like, oh yeah, whatever, they're doing their little thing over there. And he did even say in this article that it's like, oh, I mean, is there even really a narrative? It's just like a hack and slash, right? Like clearly, hasn't looked into it, but whatever. So I'm not surprised to hear this. He seems the type from what I gathered before. So yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see what's going to come of it. Do you think he'll get his money or what? Like, because I'm thinking of it like, wouldn't they have had to work something out before they made the games in the first place? Did he not like sign a bonus? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't get it. Did he not think much of it? Was he just like, oh, sure, you want to make games out of my books? Yeah, whatever. It's not like this is ever going to be anything.
Like, I got to pay the water bill. Just give me some money.
Yeah, dude, I think that might like be the case because since he said he's not into video games, he probably just thought it was like some whatever sort of deal and didn't expect anything of it. And then The Witcher 3 blew up, and now they're doing a Netflix fucking show. So
you think that show has something to do with it? Maybe probably. The fact that everything's getting blown up. He's all like, "Hey, I got a hand. Throw some money in it."
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think so.
Yeah. It has to be. It has to be that form of entertainment.
Did you say that?
Is it? I don't know how much they.
Wasn't it like
I heard it was like $6,000 he wants.
I'm sorry. How much was it?
I heard he wants like another 18 million. I forgot which site.
Wait, how much did they pay him initially?
Yeah, like, well, I don't know. They made an offer, and I'm pretty sure it's somewhere around like $8,000, $6,000.
So
lowball.
I didn't even know anything, right? And I just made a guess about why he wants the money. He probably just signed off on it because he didn't think much of it. He was like, yeah, video games, that shit's for kids. It's not important, whatever. He didn't think it was going to be anything. And now it's something. And now he wants his money. So as it stands right now, he kind of, I mean, damn, sucks to suck, man. But I don't know what to say. Like,
yeah, I mean, they made the offer, and ultimately, that's why you can't get out of the contract. You agree to something. It's up to you to kind of know what you're worth at that point. I mean, it's such a minuscule amount. I just want them to throw them a couple million just cause, right? Like technically CD Projekt Red had built everything that they are off of their own ideas, but the Witcher story. And just give the guy $1 million, a couple $1 million. I don't know. Like, he did agree to the amount. They don't have to. He doesn't have any right to it.
Yeah.
But
it would just look good. I mean, it would make them look better than they already are, but like, I mean, they don't have to because he fucked up. Like, I'm sorry, but it's his own fault. Like, he dismissed it, he dismissed the games. He didn't think that they would be anything. He didn't believe in them. He didn't believe in his own fucking series, So it's kind of just like, damn, bro, like maybe you should have, I don't know, done some research, talked to your fucking lawyers, like actually been like, hey, this is a clause here that if this game fucking blows up, give me more money. Like, I don't understand what he could have been thinking.
Well, he just, I mean, at this point, CD Projekt Red is taking the game farther, or the franchise farther than he ever did, or probably ever would have. So I don't understand what he's expecting. Like, he already signed the deal, the contract's done, and he just has to move on. He didn't make the franchise what it is now. They
no,
did.
but how would you sleep tonight knowing you got 8 Gs instead of millions?
Dude,
I'd
it's
be
just,
infuriated.
I would
it's-
blame
He's got
myself.
himself to blame. He's ignorant. He's got himself to blame at the end of the day. But I mean, it does suck. I don't think CD Projekt Red's going to give him a penny. I've actually heard over the last week from Jim Sterling on YouTube and his own channel there that CD Projekt Red isn't all sunshine and roses to go and work for. They are expanding really, really, really fast, I guess. And it's kind of a meat grinder over there, I hear. Really long work hours, not the best pay. And it's kind of like, do what you're told. Like, I haven't heard the best things, so.
It sounds like every developer, though, buddy.
Yeah.
Not everyone. CD Projekt Red in particular is growing big, like really fast. Like Luca mentioned earlier, that Witcher 3 was really, really big. And then with their new game, I think they're going all out. Not every company grows smoothly.
Hey, I'm sure somebody's seen, but Lethal dropped that code for the Arkham Collection in the chat. We got more coming. Hey, Colt, you see Underachiever's super chat here?
I do. He actually is a big fan of the books. Like, big fan. He's read a bunch of them, or I don't know how many there are. But he said CD Projekt Red offered him profit sharing to the series, but he didn't think it would sell. So he demanded a lump sum up front, no profit percentage.
Nice. See, nice. I totally just guessed that. Like, okay, don't give him any money. Fuck that guy. He's an idiot. No offense. No offense. Great series, but like, he fucked up. Like, it's his own fault.
I don't care about no fancy foosball.
Like, I get it. You know, I understand where you're coming from, Shady. I get that perspective as well. It makes me think of that kid who sold Marvel the idea of Venom for like, what, $2,000 or whatever. Like, ooh, you know,
no, I'm not on his side. I can just understand
his
mentality. Like, it would.
Yeah, I get his mentality, but he's a fucking idiot.
He is. Yeah.
Like, they offered it, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good." And now he wants to come begging because it blew up. You didn't believe in them in the first place, fuckface. Sorry.
Hey, let's just hope we don't hear from the cyberpunk guy. Hey, the guy want more money. You know, hopefully he knows what he's worth. That game's gonna sell big.
Jesus.
Yeah,
he's probably sifting through his contract right now, going, "Oh, please tell me I didn't fuck."
I mean, I think it's a little bit different with Mike Pondsmith because he's working very closely with them, so they seem like they have a good relationship, at least. So,
hey, I want to give a shout out to Fuzzy Belvedere. We got Jezzy Pup. We got all kinds of people in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really surprised. There's games to play, guys. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. Let's try to get 300 for the end of the show. We want to run by Red Dead 2 real quick. Gameplay trailer dropped, and you know what? I don't think anybody's expectations dropped. I think they just increased. 100 gigabyte download file day one apparently, and you've got over 1,000 actors in the game. We already covered Shady's favorite thing. You know, they're even simulating horse balls. Okay, people, like this is crazy in depth. Luca, anything that you've seen, you're a big RPG fan, that's like, whoa, maybe I'm this is doing, you know, some different things.
Honestly, just hearing that they've added that amount of attention to detail, you know. The ball part, yeah. They added that amount of
the ball part,
and the fact that like you have to cut your hair to actually have short hair, like shit like that, right? I like that. Like, that's interesting to me. Like, you have to eat, sleep, all this stuff. You got to take care of your dude. And how do I say? Like, if you don't shower, you walk around as a stinky piece of shit. Okay, and people react to that. Yeah, I just think it's really cool because, given Rockstar's reputation, I feel like they would balance it properly and it wouldn't be a chore. You know what I mean? Because sometimes like more survival-esque games get bogged down by that stuff. And I feel like it's just going to be like naturally a part of the game. And I think that's exciting. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to raise the bar once again. So Guillermo in the chat says 4 terabyte external for the save. Yes, it's very important. Oh, somebody's very important. I'm guessing that's Alker.
Nope. That's not me at all.
It's me, and I'm trying to shut it off.
Why is your ringtone so big?
Why are you calling me?
It's Skype, if you must know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Put them up on the glass.
Skype.
That trailer was absolutely fantastic, but there wasn't enough headshot violence for so shady.
Yeah, well, I mean, you explained what you wanted out of Gears 4. You wanted, intestines to blow out of the enemies, and it wraps around the guy next to him's neck like a scarf. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, you're really hardcore. I'll say the physics on the bodies and stuff when they were getting lit up for the most part were pretty good.
Yeah, they were. I liked it, and that first person mode, man. Oh my god, that looks so good. I'm gonna be playing that big time.
Mm-hmm. We've got an RDX question from Echo C. I pronounce so many names. AKOSII, basically asking, has anybody seen an XO event from Xbox before? Keep in mind, this was a thing. This is where they announced studios like Rare becoming acquisitions to be indentured to 10 years of making Connect trash. But yeah, they're bringing it back this year. If you guys didn't know, and it's going to be a big event this fall. I was thinking it was going to compete with PSX, but yeah, that's not happening this year. So I've never seen one, but I know Kid Smooth has, and he says it was kind of a serious deal. Wasn't just a little thing. So I don't know. Who knows how they'll bring that back? Any of you guys ever seen XO real quick? No one.
I think I saw it in 06, honestly, but I don't remember much about it. But I remember watching it, and that's too long ago to remember what they did there. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to resemble the old one from 06 at all.
Yeah. It's like Inside Xbox. That was an old thing too. They brought it back, put a little bit of money and some weird white gloves on Major Nelson, and that's what we got today. Good question though. Thank you so much. Xbox. What's the deal with this, Colt? There's a Minecraft game, a different one coming to PC, but not Xbox. Is this kind of going to become a big deal going forward? We got all these IP that, I know that Gears Tactics is coming to Xbox eventually. A lot of people don't know that. But, it doesn't give a good message to, I think, a lot of the fans of the box.
No, because they're trying to unify the platform, but it's like a one-way street right now. The only reason why I think certain games wouldn't come to Xbox would be mouse and keyboard constraints, which is being removed by November. Like there will be mouse keyboard support. Anything you have that is USB wireless or USB plug-in. Or a CPU constraint, like if there's some game that, a console like a base Xbox One or an X can't handle because there's too much stuff going on for that CPU, that game won't port to the Xbox. But, there's all these games that there should be no reason why they shouldn't port. And so what I'm hoping to see with mouse and keyboard support is for more developers to jump on the opportunity to sell another 100,000 or 1 million copies of their game by dropping it on the Xbox store. So that's what I think that means. I don't know why they're doing this, like Age of Empires, Gears Tactics, and another Minecraft game where it's just a one-way street for the unified platform.
Well, because
that's my complaint.
Because there's a market for it, right? Like when Halo Wars 2 came out, I was part of their market. I wanted that game. I love RTS games, but it was too simplistic in the controls. So when it went to PC, it wasn't as fun to play that game on PC because it was so simple, because the mouse and keyboard is way more dynamic. So that's what they're trying to do with, tactics and all these games, is start making them for the PC first, so people on PC actually do want to play them, and then port them over to controllers later.
Hey, Justin Mike on the super chat. Apparently, the Metro 2033 author has commented on the Witcher 3 author's kind of debacle, and the Metro author says that Witcher 3's author is wrong, and he's an arrogant motherfucker, taking shots, nerd shots.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yep. Yeah, he's not wrong. I mean, if you made a deal, you made a deal, man, and it's up to you to know what the hell you're doing.
Dealer, can you address Mad Max 23?
What do you say?
He's not happy. He said, and I agree with him partially. He said, mouse and keyboard support is a bad idea. We keep getting shafted. Xbox has no identity. PC gets everything. We get nothing.
Well, I mean, this is a way that you got to kind of think about it. Mouse and keyboard, Phil already talked about this. They're going to implement basically up to the developers, and if they even implement it, for one, it's not universal, and they are probably going to have different filters and stuff to keep those players away from you, unless, like Halo Wars 2, the community has shrunken so small that they have no choice. They have to combine those communities. You don't have a choice but to play with mouse and keyboard on Halo Wars 2. You have to play with those guys cross-play, so I guess it just depends, but at the end of the day, I think most games, especially the bigger ones, you're going to be able to separate yourself from the mouse and keyboard guys or the PC guys altogether. you'll just have that option later on, kind of like a server browser, stuff like that. And when it comes to Xbox stuff going to PC, honestly, you may not have a PC now. Keep in mind, I got a good PC, but I don't play it, right? I mean, Forza Horizon 4 wouldn't even fucking boot up on the thing, right? I tried to test it out. So you may not have a PC now. You may not prefer a PC, but in 10 years, you may be an Xbox gamer that also has a PC, and maybe you don't have the option to play it on your Xbox at the time. You can play the same copy for free with cross-save, cross-play, all that stuff on your PC. It's another option for you. And if you're worried about their brand identity, I think those pro-consumer choices has become that new identity, at least in the last 2 years, with lack of software, things like that on the first-party side. So I think next gen is going to be big for them, though. I've heard some great things.
Yeah, it works.
Really, it's one of those things you just kind of gotta.
Yeah, it kind of works both ways, because when Forza Horizon 3 launched, I was playing on my PC more than anything, and the optimization was bad for like half the user base, and the game just wasn't stable when I was running frame rates. So I had to just go over to the Xbox, and in 5 seconds it resynced my save right where I left off, and I played on the base Xbox One back then for like, I don't know, 2 weeks until they got the patches all sorted out and everybody was kind of running on a stable PC version. So it can go both ways.
Well, you also want to know if we got it working. No, I didn't. I tried it once and I was like, I got a 60 frames mode on the X. It looks phenomenal. Of course, it could look better on the PC, but it wasn't that big a deal for me. So I just said, fuck it.
Well, I'm hoping that they bring that mouse and keyboard to blackout for Call of Duty, man. Headshots are for noobs. I'm going for eye shots.
Oh my gosh. But like we said, if some games come over to the store because of it, like Heroes of the Storm or even WoW, like that would be crazy, right? But there's some big games that maybe, you wanted to play. Maybe there's some like building games or MMOs or something. And like all of a sudden they're like $12 on Xbox Store, and you just grab your keyboard and mouse, and if you know how to use one.
Well, some of the biggest games are keyboard and mouse, right? Counter-Strike, League of Legends. Wow. Yeah. Those games can come over. Dota. Yeah, those games can come over and really just add a whole new layer and bring a whole new type of gamer and community to the Xbox. I don't understand how that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, in either case, yeah, I mean, some people feel a certain way, and I notice a lot of shifting opinions on the brand. Right before E3 every year, everyone freaks out and like, why aren't they showing us anything 2 months before E3? You just kind of got to wait. And I'm not saying wait for E3. It's not. I'm just using it as an example. It's just one of those things where you got to. Anyway, Last of Us 2. Apparently coming out next year, according to a rumor, and I fully believe that it's coming out next year. I've said this before. It's common sense. I feel like it'll be the back half, and then you'll have Ghost and Death Stranding in 2020, which will be cross-gen titles. Yeah, I mean, is anybody surprised by this at all?
Definitely not.
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm looking forward to playing it, man. It looked insane.
Yeah, the death sequences in the game are so realistic. It's like you're watching someone really die. That's something we covered. Like, it's a little jarring. That's how talented Naughty Dog are with their acting and their animation and their just the way they set up that scene. It's nuts, man. Watch someone get their arms broken with a hammer. I know, Luca.
Yeah, I was wincing. I was like, ooh,
yeah. Yep. In the gameplay they showed the guy standing on the chair, the bucket or whatever, and they're cutting his guts out, and you really feel like you're watching someone die, man. It's weird.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. They've achieved a level of immersion that I've not seen very often at all. But anyway,
a little bit of shock value in there, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give it to Zalker here on this Harry Potter. He's a fucking Harry Potter nerd. What's going on with this game that leaked, Zalker?
Well, apparently they had about a minute and 20-second video that looked rather amazing. You guys should really check it out.
Explain the situation. Leak, right?
Yeah, it was leaked by somebody. I don't know. It was from a music thing. They put like a song out, and that was leaked. And then this wizarding world, you're in like the 1800s. You're building an RPG. You're in Hogwarts. You're fighting as a wizard. You can go dark, good, whatever you want. You have 8 different types of wizards. I mean, it's a huge leak that came out, and the gameplay looks absolutely amazing. Something that we've never seen before, almost next gen, if you think about it. I mean, they blew up a door that hit some trolls, and then part of the door impaled one of the trolls on the wall. Like, that's how level of detail it was. Everybody should check it out. It just looks absolutely amazing.
So that's a leaked potential next generation title, some kind of Harry Potter game, kind of odd timing, potentially from someone like Avalanche. I've heard Rocksteady, not sure. I mean, I guess it kind of looks great and maybe it shares some animation traits, but both of those are Warner Brothers Studios. We know Rocksteady are working on DC properties. So let us know if you're excited for this Harry Potter game or if you think it's actually going to release. It could be a canceled game. Remember that Darth Maul game footage it hit? It looked pretty raw.
Oh, yeah.
And, that never happened. So I guess we will have to wait. Studio acquisition rumor. Cole Eastwood. I know you played a little bit of Inside, but Playdead, the makers of Inside, rumored to be potentially kind of bought up by Microsoft. And they're one of the highest rated studios of the generation.
Inside and Limbo. Yeah. Those are really high rated games too. Yeah. So what, Microsoft wants to buy them, or are they buying?
That's the rumor that they could swoop up in Playdead, and that was something I mentioned before. That's a studio that I would actually like them to pick up, because whoever's in charge of that studio, leading a bigger team, that's mad potential right there.
Am I wrong in saying it seems like Microsoft has basically taken their spending from 2016 and 17 and increased it like 10 times? It's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, there's that leak that Dealer put out and got talked about by a German website that they just hired an additional 600 people, which you didn't say in your video, but how do you show that in perspective to people?
Yeah, Xbox Dynasty actually did an article on me about that video and this leak, right? 600, which I'm going to talk about that later actually, but basically, yeah, they're doing a lot of good stuff, and they're splitting that talent up between a lot of different things. We'll cover that later. Colt,
well, just tell them what 600 employees.
For perspective, the coalition, when they released Gears of War 4 in 2016, were around 280 men strong.
Gosh, and women.
That's potentially, my God, that's potentially 2 big AAA studios there. And keep in mind, the coalition are immensely talented. I think that they're underrated because they made that game in 2.5 years, and that includes building all the assets, the story, everything. And, Gears is still an 84, 85 on Metacritic. The next one, with 3 years, with a lot of that technology already built, I think is going to be fire, man. It comes out
another 2 studios worth of people added onto the 5 from E3. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But we'll get into that later.
And then you add in, the Obsidian Entertainment rumor too of them getting those guys who some people consider made the best Fallout game ever in New Vegas.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, which we covered Obsidian quite a while ago. That they sent them a letter of intent, meaning, "Hey, can we buy you?" And then,
and they're not working, so
yeah,
they're mulling that over.
But Playdead, they're legit. Luca, you never played Inside, right? Nope.
Yeah, I never played it.
Yeah, well, I recommend everybody play Inside. I think it's really good. And 2, potentially, do you think we'll have any studio announcements at XO 18, Luca? I mean, do you think maybe that's something they would hold off and kind of unveil there?
Yeah, I definitely think so, especially since they got Rare there not the last time, but one of their XO events. I think it would be a big announcement like, hey, all those studios we announced at E3? Well, we got more, bitch. Stop complaining about us not having games, please. So, yeah. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Hey, shout out to almost 550 people watching us live, guys. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. Maybe share this on Twitter or somewhere else. We do appreciate it. It helps a lot. But yeah, that's kind of the acquisition rumor of the week. There have been several, and we are hoping to know more soon. Sony caving on crossplay, Luca. I want you to lead on this one, actually. Why are you chuckling like that?
Do that laugh again.
Yeah. She's chuckling already. Like she's like, I got some shit to say here.
So literally for the past, 6 months, I have been, leading this crusade stating that, yes, sir, I have.
I don't know about that.
Sir, go look at me.
A tiny little general on a horse somewhere, but
no, sir. No, I've been leading the crusade. Wow. So anyway, so I have been saying that there's absolutely no reason why PlayStation should not allow crossplay. It makes sense. Nintendo's doing it, PC's doing it, Xbox is doing it. They should just all do it together, right? And then these PlayStation fiends were just like, no, Luca, Sony doesn't have to do that. Like, what's the point? They're making too much money. They can just play with each other. No. Nonsense, right? Mm-hmm. So last week, PlayStation's like, okay, crossplay, it's in beta. We're going to do it, I guess. And it's just the pandemonium that ensued. Just so glorious. Just so glorious. I'm actually, jokes aside, I'm actually really surprised that they agreed to it. I thought, if anything, it'd be something that we'd see in next generation. Mm-hmm. Not so soon. I don't know what happened because Yoshida-san literally said like a month ago that PlayStation is like what the best place to play Fortnite.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what could have happened to make them change their mind. They must have all gotten together and like come up with something and just work things out. But it's great for us. It's great for gamers. It's great for consumers. There's literally no downside to this. There's zero downside. So the fact that people are upset and angry and saying, "Oh, PlayStation folded," I'm like, who cares? Do you work for this corporation?
PlayStation folded?
Doesn't make any sense.
You got to look at the tea leaves of the industry, right? You got to kind of look at what's happening. And right now, you know, for something this big to be announced, and sure, they only announced it for Fortnite, but for something for this big to be announced, the industry is shook up by it. And another shakeup that's happening is what we might be talking about a little later is Google getting involved. So I think that all the companies involved are trying to almost combat Google a little bit. And that's why Sony, you know, to their displeasure, caved on this because they wanted to basically combat Google, and they know the enemy in Xbox and Nintendo. An unknown enemy coming in and something that you're not prepared for is a scary thing for any company to face.
No, I think Google's fucked. Let's not forget that Google have a lot of money, but they also made Google Plus, which cancels out all that money. So I don't think that just because they're Google that they can do anything they want. They're also taking the hard route. They don't have a home console. They're doing streaming only and stuff like that, which we'll cover later. But we'll get into all this bullshit later. We're always deviating off topic, Zauker.
Yeah.
So Sony cave on the crossplay thing, and I think Luca's got a lot of good points. Sean Layden tried to damage control this and say we didn't want to unveil this until we knew the technology would work. And it's like, well, Fortnite already did this in secret like twice. You didn't even know they did it. Okay, they literally said it's a flip of a switch. Same for Rocket League. They said they wanted to do it as well, and you guys said no. And let's not forget, you're already doing it with Switch and PC, which some guys tend to forget. You don't have a problem with that crossplay, but just because the Xbox can join the fun there, you instantly have a problem with it, which shows, I don't know, it shows a degree of
people just hate Xbox, dude. Like it's
so cringy. Like you guys are that anti-consumer. You hate Xbox that bad that you just don't want it to happen just because it's Xbox. I can't imagine.
It's very odd to me because like what brought this forth in the first place, right? Was that Nintendo got Fortnite, and then you know people were like, "Oh, great, I can go play you know Fortnite on my Switch," and then turned out like, "Oh, nope, gotcha, bitch. You actually." You can't do any crossplay or cross progression with that, so sucks to suck. And then somehow the community turned it into, well, this is Xbox's fault, huh? Yep. Like it stemmed from Nintendo, and then people were turning it on Xbox. Like I don't understand. It does not make any sense.
It's Xbox's fault that Sony locked all of your Epic account purchases, all your skins for Fortnite, all your V-Bucks, all that stuff is locked to your PS4 due to no fault of Epic. Sony just decided it was intentional to keep you there. And I'm not sure why people put up with that.
It's cringy.
Another weird thing that came out of this was everyone started to say, you know, well, why is Microsoft charging, you know, Xbox Live Gold to play free-to-play games? This was never an issue. In fact, I thought I knew about, you know, the platform inside and out, I guess. And like, I think it was early this summer that I kind of was finally like, oh, I didn't realize you had to have Xbox Live Gold to play free to play. It like wasn't something they were talking about. It's kind of, we all do this kind of trade-off, like, oh, Sony's being anti-consumer doing this. Well, Microsoft's doing this. Like, well,
it's like, yeah, Sony the difference is we're talking about what Microsoft are doing wrong.
Yeah.
You know, how many times have we talked about the fucking free-to-play paywall?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot this summer.
Fucking times.
Yeah.
I just really want to see. I want to see crossplay expand to more games than just Fortnite, and I want like platform versus platform lobbies. I don't know about anyone else out there, but my digital trigger finger, is itching to put some ponies into the glue factory, big time.
Oh, come on! No, I think Fortnite's a big game to go crossplay. You know, you need another big game. And then everyone will just kind of fall in line. Like this will become the thing, and this is what we want. We want to be able to get on to the next Call of Duty game. And when you get in the lobby, there's PlayStation icons, there's Xbox icons, and you just get in there and you're teaming up with them, you're playing against them, and then eventually, you know, they start putting out stats like PlayStation 4 gamers have a higher kill death ratio than Xbox or vice versa, and that would drive like the true console war, like the real thing. Like let's get down to like just the games. instead of arguing about the stupid.
It would drive.
Like, that would be really cool
on the leaderboard, right? Like in my last video, I showed a graphic, leaderboard controller next to each name, and when you're in a lobby, you would know who's who. Maybe they would not let you message those people because you're on separate services. I don't know, but at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt anybody, and it brings dead lobbies to life. I think there's a lot of benefits. Luca, I know you pay attention to, I don't know. I don't want to say the crackheads, but you do notice a lot of things that people say. You're in the know. What are some of the craziest conspiracy theories as to why Sony finally buckled and did the right thing?
Oh no.
The most I've heard is that they're doing it as a handout. Like, okay, we're at the top. I guess we can concede to this. I also heard that
top though in this area. I mean,
yeah,
PC, like Zalker said,
mobile,
right?
Yeah.
Mobile PC, they're number one in Fortnite.
Yeah, I don't think they're thinking about that. Logic escapes most of the people in this trash community. So, but it's like the people making comments like that. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's very odd to me, as I stated before. I don't understand the lack of logic when it comes to this stuff. It's not hurting anyone whatsoever. This is just a doorway to the future. Like, this is just how things are going to be. This is where the industry is heading.
Would you say it's inevitable?
Yeah, it is. And cross-play leads to cross-progression. It'd be great if more of these games were open like that. And it would be great for the developers as well, because it's just like, here's a bigger player pool. We're all going to mix together in these lobbies. It's going to be great, like, especially for multiplayer games. I don't understand the downside. And then there's those games where people are like, okay, well, I want to play with my buddy here. Hey, cross-progression. Hey, let me buy another copy of this game. I'll buy another copy of this game if I can just bring my characters over. Like, people will actually do that. I know they will, because I would. So, I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's a step in the right direction. I think, PlayStation wants to be on the right side of history for this. For once, they actually want to do something like that. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the future.
Instead of saying it's a handout or saying it's a conspiracy or Nintendo and Microsoft, some stupid crackhead shit. Why don't you just say, hey, Sony did the right thing?
They did the right thing.
Yeah.
We are saying and have been saying for months that Sony should let the free-to-play games be free on Xbox, just like they are on every single other platform in the world. We've been saying that forever. So if you want to know more, Microsoft did respond. Check out my last video. I got some skits in there. A lot of these dudes took L's they didn't have to take, because this isn't something you should have to argue about or wonder about. Many of these guys didn't want it because Sony didn't want it, and now they're lost.
Doesn't make any sense, man. Oh, and I saw a lot of dudes who were saying, "Oh no, fuck this! I don't want crossplay." Flipping this script, as soon as PlayStation's like, "We're doing it," they're like, "This is so great, guys." I was like, "Huh? Like what?" I don't understand.
Hey, Sony said it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a step in the right direction. End of story. Next topic.
Next topic. Perfect Dark trademark renewed apparently sometime here recently. I tell you what, it can't just be another first-person shooter. I hope they switch it up. Whatever it is, we know they're working on something. This was leaked forever ago. I can't think of any instant examples of how I would be like, oh my god, Perfect Dark. But I guess you never do, right? They've got to reimagine it. Chat, let us know what they would have to do to Perfect Dark. And some of you may be just fine with just another first-person shooter, but I'm hoping they shake it up. Let us know what you would like them to do.
I have a little bit of an idea of what they can do for it. If you guys remember StarCraft Ghost, a game that was being developed years ago that got canceled by Blizzard. If you saw some of the gameplay for that game and the way it was being set up, Joanna Dark and that franchise is almost perfect for something like that. Obviously, they need to bring a little more innovation into it, but something like that in that vein would actually set that franchise over the top to me.
I could see that. Same with like a sci-fi infused Splinter Cell, some along those lines.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people are like, I don't know. Yeah,
I know. Let's think of it this way. I never really messed around with the Tomb Raider games growing up because they look kind of dorky. I know people love them growing up, but I just wasn't into them. But when I saw that reboot in 2013, I think it was, I was blown away. I love that game. Played it twice. Just imagine. I mean, there's a rumor that team, who was it? Matt Booty, who worked on that Tomb Raider reboot. I'm probably getting these names mixed up, but there's a rumor Gallagher. Gallagher, the guy that was did that Tomb Raider reboot. Like, there's a rumor that he's doing the Perfect Dark, and I know it's easier to say, oh, what would Tomb Raider be like if it was rebooted, back before 2013? But freaking look at what it did. 3 fantastic games, and that could be something like one of those things. Like, we're all kind of saying, I don't know if I even care about Perfect Dark. I don't even really know the character, and then we could see the first reveal, like, oh, now this is something we needed on Xbox. Who knows?
Never know, man. Like I said, they could just reimagine it. It won't even be a first-person shooter or even a third-person one.
It's a mix. The one I tried out on the Rare Replay, when you get into cover, it goes to third person, kind of like Days.
360 one, right?
Yeah. And, it's super old. It's an antiquated game. And Jim Ryan would look over my shoulder and go, who wants to play this old game?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Let's go ahead and move it on to PSX here, right? We talk about primarily Xbox, as everyone knows, but we cover everything that's relevant. And the fact that Sony canceled PSX this year could spell a lot. Now, a lot of people are saying, look at IGN. They said PlayStation canceled PSX, and that's a good thing. And they were making fun of it. But I agree, because I think PSX actually ruined their 2017 E3. That was probably one of the worst E3s of all time, in my opinion. It's the one with the snake charmers at the beginning, right? They didn't show they showed things we had seen several years. God of War, Spider-Man, those are great games. But other than that, nothing. Even on the third-party side, they had a ton of marketing deals that year and didn't use any of them on stage. And we were expecting something bigger. That was the year they debuted Monster Hunter, by the way. And then there was nothing. We're like, what the fuck? And then
wasn't the PSX from before trash?
Say what?
The last PSX before that, wasn't it horrible? It was just them sitting on a couch, pulling a Microsoft and talking for like 20 minutes.
I don't know. I'm just using this as an example as to why I think it's a good thing to cancel it this year, because they saved Last of Us 2 for PSX in 2017, and that year's E3 suffered. They only had 4 games to show this year at E3. They had Spider-Man, God of War, right? And then they had Ghosts and Death Stranding, was it?
Yeah.
And now 2 of those are out. And no, they had, I don't know, whatever. The 2 of those are out, and no.
They showed a couple of smaller
War was
games.
already out at E3, that's right?
They showed that game Control. They showed Neo 2. They showed Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yeah, I'm talking about like first party. They said they had 4. They said they had 4 games to show. And
Ghost of Tsushima, Shinsia said. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, of course. Yeah.
So they had 4 games basically, and that's why they probably canceled this year, because they have 2 left. For the rest of the generation, basically, according to them, if you look at their stockholder statements, and they're not going to do PSX either because they don't want to, they
don't have 3 left. Ghost, Death Stranding, and The Last of Us, right?
Well, they got Days Gone also.
Yeah, I think it's weird when I
here's
heard
the thing though; those games, Last of Us and Days Gone, will be out before PSX
of next year.
This year.
No, Days Gone comes out in February.
My bad, I'm fucking tripping.
PSX is in December, but
I
think it is a good move. But also, they've said that they're hunkering down, right? Sony said that they're hunkering down the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So of course they don't have much to show. They want to keep it for the biggest stage, which is E3. They're not going to just throw everything out there like they did a couple years ago, and then E3 was lackluster for them. No matter what you say, it was, and that's just something that they're trying to basically prevent from happening again with canceling PSX. But also, like Dealer says, he is agreeing that it is a good thing. They don't want to disappoint their fans. And they said that in one of their releases, saying that we don't want to set expectations high and disappoint our fans, which is, very honest of them. That's a very honest thing to say.
This year E3 is in a tent, so go ahead and come on in here. No, like I said, I think it's good. I think it's good, and there's another theory that it could have something to do with next generation consoles as well. They're not doing PSX because PS5 is right around the corner, right? Like, I don't know. What do you think about that, Shady?
I can't help but notice that they waited until XO was announced before they announced this. I think that they're just going to take themselves out of the race as opposed to blatantly lose it. If they do a show, it's like they're competing. So maybe they know something we don't, and they're aware that Microsoft is going to bring the heat, and they got nothing themselves other than more footage of the same games, which look great, but we've seen them. So by not racing, it's kind of hard to call them the loser. They're like, we weren't even racing. It's all good. We didn't lose nothing.
They would lose to, though. We don't know.
I think it's more of you know, they just don't want to disappoint their fans because the last 2 E3s have been trash. So I'm really, you know, I'm happy to hear that they canceled PSX because, yeah, E3 has been bad lately, and it makes me sad because I genuinely love E3 and I genuinely love PlayStation games. So I'm hoping that next year's E3 is a lot better because they chose to cancel PSX.
Hey, Shady, a Russian hacker in the chat wants you to notice him, man. Better do the right thing.
I see that.
Shout out to Russian hacker. Colt, what is your thoughts on this kind of reasoning? I think it's because the Ouya 2 is coming out, and they're like,
Ouya.
Okay, I think Colt died. Everyone dies.
I heard his kids. He might be taking care of them.
Oh,
No, ask me again.
Why do you think they're canceling PSX?
I was going to say this earlier when you guys were talking that I think they have plenty to show. I don't know why they can't just have the show with 3 big games. They've got Dreams and they've got some other stuff. I'm sure they have a couple of PSVR games they showed last E3 that they didn't even show up this E3. So my initial reaction was, why aren't they doing it? I think they have plenty to show their audience, and you should be able to make a good show out of it anyway. Days Gone's coming. Like, they haven't shown a whole lot of Days Gone lately.
Well, they don't seem very confident in that game. It wasn't shown at E3, and now PSX. I mean, that game just seems like they're throwing it to the side, man.
If they're treating it like Crackdown, I don't agree with that either. If you're not confident in your game, don't hide it. What the heck kind of marketing is that? If you know, I think Days Gone will be a great game, and just show it off, try and make it look great, hype people up. And if it ends up being a 75 Metacritic, and like, you can't just like hide a game like because you're not, you know.
I don't necessarily.
Microsoft disagree.
Yeah, and I don't agree.
I don't
They're like, what's Crackdown? I don't know.
They're hiding it. I really truly just believe that they're like, okay, these are our last games, so yeah, we're just gonna save the big guns for the big shows, and I think that's the right thing to do. Like, no offense, but PSX last year, for viewers just watching from home, it wasn't very good. I know that people who were actually there had a great experience, like it was good for them, but it's like, I think they got the message that, hey, most of the people watching PSX are not there, so you have to make it entertaining. And it's like, all right, well, these are the games that we want to show. Let's save it for E3, which is more important. Like,
yeah,
if it, we'll have to wait until next year to see if they've actually listened to criticisms. But if they are listening to criticism, I appreciate that, because as stated before, E3 this year for PlayStation was not very good, and I was very disappointed with them. So.
I think it's, like I said, the only thing at PSX that saved it for a lot of people was Last of Us 2. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. Xbox One sales in the UK are growing twice as fast as those of PlayStation 4. Shady, why do you think this is over in Europe right now? PS4 is at 11%, Xbox One is at 22% growth.
I think a big reason is a lot of people in the UK already have a PlayStation and don't see the value in upgrading to a Pro, whereas if they don't have an Xbox, especially that X, man, it's badass.
But why didn't they just get a Beast rig instead, Shady? They could all just get a rig and play everything on PC, right? Because that's what everyone does, huh?
Yeah,
right
of course.
now,
But no.
Right now, the Pro is selling out in a lot of retail stores. It's because of the demand from the Spider-Man.
They reduced the amount they were making as well.
Oh yeah,
I don't think they were selling all the greatest until Spider-Man came out, and everyone's like, "Hey, you gotta play it. You gotta play it." And we've said that a million times. You gotta play it. It's good. Luca hasn't played it though. So
yeah, I sure haven't. Yeah.
Definitely,
you got me.
Now that growth, dealer, that console growth, it sort of sounds. They kind of frame it in that article that makes it sound like the Xbox One is selling faster than the PlayStation, you know, at a rate. But what they really mean, they kind of hide it in their reporting, is that Xbox is at a faster rate versus itself, you know, its previous. I'm not explaining that very well, but they kind of framed it like it's
year over year. From last year's time, Xbox is selling 22% more than it was last year. In which, I mean, if you look at what Xbox has done since E3, getting those new studios, giving their fans a reason to actually be excited and see things in a different light. And then not to mention the X. When people see the X, word of mouth, I mean, my buddy came to my house and watched me play the X. He bought a 4K TV. I was 2 days later helping him set it up. And then he's like, I'm getting an X next. That's just it. It's the word of mouth. That's everything going on.
Right.
And he has a full-fledged gaming PC, 1080 Ti. He has everything, but he wanted the X because he said, you know what? A lot of my friends are on there, and I've always been an Xbox fan. So he's like, there's no reason for me not to get it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's okay. But either way, growth seems up. It's interesting. I think Shady's right. I think PlayStation dominates Europe. So a lot of guys over there are like, hey, you know what? I want to play Forza Horizon. I want to play some of this other stuff coming out. You got Gears of War 4 next year, Crackdown. Hopefully Crackdown's great. I hope there's a reason they've had to delay it so many times. But nevertheless, we got a code drop coming up. Lethal, go ahead and get that ready, bud. So this one is Star Wars Battlefront 2. And we'll be dropping that into the chat for you guys to grab, just for showing up. Thank you so much. As we kind of start talking about Aaron Greenberg, going on a big interview here recently. He first off says that all acquired studios will, of course, maintain independence, meaning you can work on what you want to work on. You can make your passion project. I think that's important for a lot of studios. He also talks about the games. He says he admits the lineup isn't what it should have been recently, which is true. You got to give Aaron props for that because that motherfucker, whoo. And then he also talks about hype building for the brand. He notices ever since their acquisitions, their announcement at E3, and that's why people were like trying to be like, you guys are excited for developers? Yeah, we're excited for developers. Developers build games, and especially when you're getting like people from God of War and Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, you better bet that's great news. So yeah, he says that since the acquisitions, the hype even for the brand is even higher. 5 new studios and all that. And he also talks about how studios can share technology amongst one another. So if Ninja Theory needs something from Rare, like for example, the water technology, they can go ahead and help them with that, and so on and so forth. Go ahead and drop that code now, Lethal, if you haven't. Star Wars Battlefront 2. What are your thoughts on this, Zalker? Kind of Aaron coming out, a tell-all, if you will.
I'll be honest with you. It almost makes me a little worried. I feel like sometimes they say a little too much and people bash them. And lately what Xbox has done is they've kind of like shown more than talked. That's what they've done. They've kind of walked the walk, so to speak. And that's what I like to see. I like to see these acquisitions of studios and these first parties because they actually have something to talk about. Before it was, almost like spin for them. And they didn't have the ammunition to get people hyped for the games that they were having. But now it's just, we hear about like hiring and we hear about all these studios, and it makes me really excited for Xbox because the X truly since last year has changed, the brand of Xbox for a lot of people. And that's what they're going with. They're going with that and all these studios. And I think as an Xbox fan, if you're not excited, even for Crackdown 3, even for any first party, all these things, if you're not excited for the future, the next year, 2, 3 years, I don't know what to tell you. You're never going to be, because this is just such a great time to be in this industry. And a lot of people just talk about the first party, but I hope that with this new blood and this new energy Xbox is getting with all these developers, I really hope Sony doesn't sit back. I hope they come back and actually bring more developers on and try to combat it. I want to see competition because competition is better for everybody involved, and mainly us.
Well said, Zocker.
Mainly,
I think I've talked to Zocker a lot the past couple months, and he absolutely loves a lower rated game that came out recently because he just enjoys the heck out of it. I really enjoyed a different lower rated game.
Say the name. Say the name. It's Sea of Thieves. I'm a pirate legend. How you guys doing?
He's an ass pirate legend.
I'll put it this way. Zocker talks about Sea of Thieves the way that Luca talks about Destiny 2. Like, she absolutely loves the game. She's having so much fun. She gets bang for the buck out of that game. She plays hours upon hours, enjoys her time with her friends. And there are great games. And we've had an interesting year. And like Zocker said, every game that's come out on the X since it launched has looked amazing. And it's really been pretty cool. And it pushes what next generation is going to be. And it's great. And I'm glad that they're doing more because they needed to.
And one more thing, sorry.
Hey, Zalka, the same guys give me shit for liking Sea of Thieves. We're hyping up The Order, which is lower rated than Sea of Thieves. So,
oh my god,
just got to remember who's a fraud.
And one more thing, taking State of Decay 2. One of the things I heard, I think it was Mike Ibarra or it might have been Phil in an interview, said one of the reasons why that game, they didn't say why it wasn't reviewed well, but they said one of the reasons that the game couldn't get developed as much as they wanted was because it wasn't under the Microsoft Studios umbrella, that developer. So they couldn't use all the resources that Microsoft had to give them, right? So now with with them being under the umbrella, they can use all these resources and money that Microsoft provides to them. So it's just exciting stuff to see.
Yeah, it's going to make a better experience because they need it big time.
Yeah, it is. It's good stuff, guys. Hey, thanks for you guys checking us out. Over 550 people watching us live. Guys, hit that like button. Let's try to get to the 300 for the end of the show as we talk about kind of the big leak, which came from me, and I know it to be true because I've seen proof. Keep in mind, I've leaked several other things before, as the German website did cover. And for those that don't know how to translate, you can go on your PC, boot up Chrome, go to Xbox Dynasty, or go to my Twitter. You'll find the article, right-click on the text, and just hit translate. And it's all right there. I do know for a fact that Xbox are hiring 600 developers this year, right? Since E3, essentially, through their acquisitions and through hiring, they will have 600 new developers by the end of this year, if not more. We do know, as Windows Central confirmed, 177 new developers work at Playground Games. And like we said earlier, to put that into perspective, the Coalition, the Gears of War 4 team, was around 280 people when they released Gears 4. So that is a fully capable, made a big AAA, one of the best looking games to this day. I don't care what anyone says. Normally the guys that say otherwise haven't played it, but Gears 4 looks amazing, and they made that game in 2.5 years, and the next one gets even more time, which is going to look insane. So yeah, that's 280 people. So who knows how they're going to divide these teams? I think it's throughout their acquisitions, as well as maybe doing some other things in the background. Colt, what are your initial thoughts when you hear this? Is it okay to be excited about this, you think?
Yeah, like I said earlier in the show, that they needed this. They're kind of laying there for a year, and then it trickled down to the next year, because it's just that rippling effect. 2017 wasn't great. 2018 needed more, and now we're already seeing it. And I have to remind people that Xbox is a platform, and we're not just looking at one generation. Xbox had a really good first half, and then they've had really bad 18 months. But it keeps going. If you're invested in your games library on Xbox, you have great things to look forward to. And the PlayStation 4 really arrived big time at the end of 2016 when they had Uncharted in the middle of the year, and then all these big games. It was a great 2018 for everybody.
Yeah, it was.
So it's good.
Because I got a source that's giving me some stuff in the past, and when I saw what I saw, there is no miscommunication here. It's definitely happening. I'm hoping they announce it at XO18. I think that's worth announcing. That's why one or two of these sites have picked up on my video. It's one of my last videos, because people want more developers from Xbox, because that means you get bigger, better, or more games, or maybe all. And I think that's kind of big news. So I don't know, Luca, after all the complaining you've heard in the community, like we all have, and we've all complained that we want more games, what are your initial thoughts here, and what do you hope they do with these resources?
Listen, I just think it's great. Are people dumb or something? Because I see people complaining oh, more developers. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. Where are the games at? The developers are for the games, you idiot. I don't understand. What's the downside? There's no downside. This is great. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with these new hires, and I think it's okay to, have faith in Xbox and have a little bit of hope. There's nothing wrong with that.
It tells you they're putting money into, because we knew they were putting money in, even without this 600, right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew they were dropping money when they did the 5 extra studios. They almost doubled their development staff, right?
Yeah.
That's proof right there. So I think you're right. It is okay to be excited. Friendly Neighborhood Blue Shell says, for the fraud among you. Just kidding. Great show. Thank you so much, bud, in the super chats. Any kind of thoughts on this, Shady, at all? Were you excited when you heard this?
Yes, I was. And, I've been a massively big Xbox fan. I'm, talk positively about the brand. It's nice to see the company look like it's excited about the brand as well, and be, getting some of these big game deals for advertising, hiring up a lot of big time name talent for the initiative, and then just tons and tons of devs to spread amongst the teams that they have. I think the future is bright for Xbox. We just need to give them a little bit of time. I'm satisfied now, man, but I'll take better if they got it.
Zalker, give me your thoughts.
I'll be honest with you. I think that this is what Xbox and Microsoft needed to do, was bring it in-house, because two of the biggest, blunders they've had was Scalebound and, to be honest, Crackdown 3's development, which was not first party. So I think they learned from that, and they took what they learned and they were like, we need to hire people to be in-house and make games for us, not go out and find someone to make them and pay them and not give them the resources needed to make it because we can't provide that because they're not under our umbrella. So that's something that I think these hiring of these developers is doing, is making Xbox have a better foundation to give us better games.
Yeah. Arthur Wiggins, super chat. He says $2 from He's So Super. Thank you so much. Hey, imagine this, and we've talked about this behind the scenes. Imagine if Ninja Theory have been given the assets to what was developed of Scalebound. I think that team could pull Scalebound off because that's kind of up their alley anyway from the last Devil May Cry, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And Enslaved Odyssey of the West, fantastic game that needs to go back and bat. That's a cool game. Yeah, they could. I agree.
Shout out to Neil as well in the super chat. What were you going to say, Xavier?
Oh, no, I was going to say definitely. I think that studio is perfect for that type of game. Take off the damn Bose headphones and let's go.
I agree. Yeah.
Eternal Shadow in the super chat says, do you think those two studios from Playground could be kind of a separate thing? Yeah, honestly, from what I know, it's just Playground Games, same moniker, everything. That extra team has actually already been talked about publicly. And from what we know, they are working on that open world RPG, which is probably Fable, right? So maybe they'll reboot that and bring that back to life as well. It's never too late. So I don't know. I'm not done thinking about this Ninja Theory Scalebound thing. I wasn't even super excited for the game, but if it's going to live, they own the IP, they have the assets still. Ninja Theory could do it, man. I really
think that game was 75% done or something. I asked Dealer about this the other day. I'm like, so what happened? Who lost money in this cancellation of the game? Because it's really the only big game that Microsoft canceled this generation. Unless you count Fable Legends, which was a free-to-play game, which is, that was an expensive game to make as well. But I said, what happened? And Dealer said, Microsoft took a $40 million L or something like that, right? With Scalebound, by canceling it. Like, it was in such a bad situation. Platinum was sitting on it. And, here, let me just make a horrible guess that maybe Platinum was just kind of using Microsoft's money and floating it to work on the other stuff that they were putting out. Like they finished Transformers Devastation. What were the other games they put out? They were working on Nier Automata.
They released 8 titles, I think, in the 2012 since 2012 when they started Scalebound.
So if you just take a guess about how business works, like Microsoft gave them a bunch of money, they were rounding up and finishing a couple other games. Basically, they were floating Microsoft's money. They weren't putting the proper attention into sharpening Scalebound, and Microsoft went over there and was like, "What the heck you guys been doing?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was playing Candy Crush."
Well, here's what we know. This is factual. Scalebound were let go, or not Scalebound. Platinum were let go. Platinum didn't back out. Nothing. They got fired. The contract was terminated, much like the team who was working on the Phantom Dust remake. Done. They didn't like what they saw, and from what I heard behind the scenes, even at the time, was that Phil wasn't happy with the builds he was playing. They were missing deadlines. There were like inherent performance issues from what I hear, like the pipeline somewhere along the line, the rendering pipeline, there was some kind of core code that was messing performance up in the game, and Platinum couldn't figure out how to get rid of it or how to fix it. And it was taking them so long to optimize the game and to get it even solid because people were noticing the frame rate at E3.
It's obvious.
Phil just wasn't happy with it, and they waited since 2012. That game was supposed to be 2016, I do believe. I think it got pushed back to 17. Then it got canceled. So I think they just said, I would have, like I said, I would have kept working on it and got at least some return on my money and just let them develop it for another year or handed it off and got some millions back instead of just lighting it all on fire. But like I said, if they do bring it back, that's Ninja Theory could pull that off, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If they wanted to. So I think Charlie Walker says, wet dream. What did they basically acquire Valve and stuff? Yeah, that's a wet dream. Thanks, bud. That'd be insane. Half-Life 3, the game that just will never be made. Luca, I want to know your thoughts real quick, even though you probably don't give 2 shits. Google's Project Stream. Lay it on us.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
I mean,
I can't wait to stream.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of not tangible right now to me. I would have to wait and see more, to be honest.
Okay, you need to see
Hello?
more. Well,
Yeah.
there's footage of
Yeah, I
it
need to
right
see more.
now. You can actually play Assassin's Creed Odyssey for free with the stream trial. It's actually something that's going on right now, apparently. I don't know. Anybody else know any more about this? I mean, I don't think they're going to be quite the competitor that everyone thinks. For one, they're limiting themselves with just a stream platform, which
Yeah,
that's
I
a
mean,
big disadvantage. And I also think that Microsoft and Sony at some point will have other options that will use lower latency, as we've heard before, plus home consoles.
yeah, I mean, the information that has been out about this Google Project stream is that the footage that was on, it was at 1080p, 60 frames per second, but we can't tell if there's input lag. Obviously, you can't ascertain that. And then not to mention, you have to be 17 years or older to be on the test, and you need a computer with a connection of 25 megabits a second with Google will run a test to verify that. So if you don't have that, they will basically tell you not to go. And you need a controller or a mouse and keyboard, obviously, as well as a Google account and a Ubisoft account to test it. And it's only on Google Chrome web browser. So those are all the things you need.
Double O negative blood type to do it as well.
Well, you know, streaming's not for everybody anyway, even in the next couple of years. And that's what we've talked about with the Scarlet Cloud box. You know, it's not made for everybody, but if you fit that demographic, if you've got that internet connection, you don't care about local games, like it's a cool option if it's working. So this Google Stream thing will be a good indication of where cloud streaming is right now, because the only thing that people have been bouncing it off of is PS Now, and people aren't happy with the performance of that service. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And this 25 megasecond, which is much higher than any other streaming service that I know of, tells me that this is not what I've called hardware interlacing, where they run the low latency stuff on the local hardware like the CPU, and then they stream in the more static objects that don't need to react super fast. That's the difference between the Scarlet Cloud, the little $100 stream box, and what Google are doing. I think Microsoft are integrating or kind of combining the two to bring you all of your games anywhere you go, provided you have internet connection at a lower bandwidth, a much lower bandwidth usage than I think Google are doing. I think Google are just brute forcing through some really good networking and just fast internet for streaming, because that's a very high demand. I mean, OnLive was less than 10 megs per second, like 10 years ago. I think it was 10 megs per second, something like that, 8 megs. So that's pretty insane that they haven't brought that down more.
I think they're shooting for obviously that 60 frames per second, but they're trying to test maybe to even stream 4K video games. They're not cheaping out on this if that's what you need to do that. I mean, I mean, we all said PS Now, but their network is nothing compared to what Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all those networks have. They don't even compete. They're not even in the same realm.
No.
So people need to understand that this is different technology that we as gamers have not seen yet. And Xbox has kind of hinted at that this is something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I don't think Google are going to destroy everyone. I think Microsoft have commented in the past that these guys don't know how much it takes to get into the home console market and establish these relationships and work with these factories. It takes so much time and money to get to even enter this race. When really the big question is, when will Ouya 2 hit and just crush everybody? That's all I care about. I want to play the Ouya 2. Okay, I'm out of topics. Okay,
Cue the guy with the flute playing the keyboard on your video.
Shady, let me get your quick opinions on this Google thing.
When I first heard it, I was pretty mind blown. Actually, I haven't seen anything talking about what type of potato PC you need to run this thing, other than a fast internet connection and a mouse and keyboard or a controller. That's it. So I think the barrier to entry there is pretty small for those out there with good internet. Like, they don't have to buy a streaming box or really nothing. They're just using the desktop they've been having for like a decade on their, over in their office, I think it could be good, especially if it works. I really like the idea of the whole 60 frames thing, considering, even though the X is doing 4K, it's not doing 60 frames in that Creed. So I thought that was pretty cool to hear. It's going to make some waves. I don't know if it's going to completely change the industry, but I have heard from some people that this kind of was maybe the reason why that crossplay was happening with Sony now, is because Google is getting their foot in the door and they're a big player, man. Once that foot's in the door, you don't know what else is coming behind it. So get ready, I guess.
I don't know what Google having a streaming box though has anything to do with.
The casual market is huge now. I think there's just a lot of people getting into games that are really casual and new, and if they don't have to spend $1 more than anything, they just all of a sudden can play games on their mom's fucking desktop. I think that's going to help a lot of people get into gaming because that barrier to entry just goes down, man. It could be big. What's that? I'm not sure. I to be honest, I think right now it's just the trial and you get to play the game for free for limited. If I had to guess, I think Google is just looking to maybe start selling games themselves through their own digital store. So you would just buy your game via Google and play it through Chrome browser. It just sounds weird saying it, man. But I mean, if it works, I think it could be pretty big, to be honest.
They know games of the future, man, and they have the cash to. They're one of the few that I think could enter the space, but streaming box only, that's already extremely limiting. And not only do a lot of people still don't have that bandwidth, they do not have that data cap. And the fact that you need 25 megasecond alone tells you that it's going to be demanding on your internet. We'll see. It's in testing and stuff. Michael Walker says that Google has always been Microsoft's nemesis. And that's a very good point. They really are, to the point where Google wouldn't even update the YouTube app on the Xbox for years. They wouldn't update it. And they definitely won't add local streaming to the YouTube app. That's why we don't have it. That's not because of Microsoft. Mikey Barr said, talk to Google. That's their app. They've updated on the PlayStation years ago from launch to have streaming from YouTube functionality, but they do not have it to this day on Xbox. And that's because Google and Microsoft, they're in the same league, kind of. Microsoft are more wealthy, but Google don't like it. Google don't like it. Hey, Lethal, get that last code ready. This is for Xbox Game Pass, meaning you'll be able to jump into Game Pass tonight and play Forza Horizon, which just launched. So when you get that ready, Lethal, go ahead and launch that code into the chat as our thank you to you guys for being so fucking awesome. Speaking of awesome, hit that like button. Let's try to get to 300 for the end of the show. We do appreciate it, guys. And we're going to get into some outros. For those of you that are still here, especially patrons, I'm doing a patron stream right after this show. So I'm going to wait throughout the next 10, 20 minutes, maybe 30, get the messages, add me on Xbox Live, II space dealer space II, add me there, send me a message on Xbox Live, and then we can all jump in a party, figure out what to play, stream it, and have a good time. So that's for patrons. And of course, once more, giving away Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Patreon, plus like 12 other games for you guys to choose through. And that link is down in the description if you want to do the stream and get the games and all that other stuff. We also got tiers for creators, come on the show and do a lot more. So check out that link down below. As we get into some outros, Cold Eastwood, man, thanks for being a good sport. I know the last thing you want to do is be on a podcast. You want to play some Odyssey like me.
I love being on this podcast, though, for real. It's always a good time. But yeah, I'm going to be back on Odyssey tonight, and I just need to figure out, can we split screen so I can play Forza and Odyssey at the same time with two? I just love to be able to do something like that. But yeah, thanks for having me on. You can find me at Colt Eastwood on Twitter, on Xbox, and on YouTube. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. We've also got Luca. We're sorry, we had a lot of tech stuff this week, Luca.
Bleh. Just kidding. Thank you very much for having me on. I had a good time. As always, Dealer is my brother. Cool with the guys on the panel as well. So good shit, bud. You can find me on Twitter at the Ashen Luca. I also have a YouTube channel, very small, where I do my own podcast called The Scumcast because I am a scumbag. So yeah.
Well, you're my favorite scumbag. This is your home still.
Yes,
even
obviously.
Today. So occasionally you come home and eat and then you run off again, but it is good to have you back on the show. People love you here. So
hey man, brothers for life.
Yes, brothers, Luca for life. We've also got So Shady. Go ahead and let the people know. God damn it, I forgot to ask you guys what you're playing. Whatever. All right, starting now, So Shady. What have you been playing? Where can people find you?
I've been playing Assassin's Creed as of yesterday. I have been trying to play some Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the last week, but it is broken to fuck land on Xbox since the last update.
Oh, yeah.
They put in squads. Yeah, they put squads in, and since then, it cannot be connected online for Xbox. It's just broke for over a week. I haven't loaded it today, but yesterday it was broke. So
Wow.
I'm pretty upset about that. They say they're on it, but you know, hey, that sucks. Otherwise, everyone can find me at the Sesh Empire on Twitter or on Xbox. I am so shady, man. Unfortunately, it is the end of the show. But that being said, we got awesome games to get to, man. Let's get in there.
Shout out to Lethal Papa as well for dropping them codes. Zauker, this is my buddy Zauker. Kind of introduce him to the scene. You know, he's on Shop Podcast and some other things. I want you guys to do me a favor and subscribe to Zauker. Check his stuff out. He's up and coming. Zauker, let them know where they can find you on YouTube and Twitter.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Dealer, thanks for the invite. You guys can find me at Shocked87 on Twitter and Zalker87 on my YouTube channel. I try to put content out as often as I can, talking about the things that we all love, which is gaming. And what I've been playing lately is too much. I've been playing Destiny 2, got through all the campaign. I've been playing PUBG, and today I've been playing Forza Horizon 4 like crazy. The game is blowing my mind. I freaking enjoy it so much. And by Friday, I'm going to be in Odyssey. So I got a lot of gaming to do, but damn, it's a good time to be a gamer, everybody.
So Zalker 87 on YouTube. Go ahead and follow him there. And he may have his link in the comment section as well below when the show renders. So once again, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. Hit that like button. Follow me at XboxII _dealer_II. Send me a DM if you're a patron for this Patreon stream happening in the next 30 minutes. We'll have a party up and going, figure out what to play. We're out, guys. Thanks for checking us out.
Bye.
Later, everybody.
I signed up twice.